All right, let's try something a little bit different today. Instead of three audience questions, I'm going to run through a few emails I've received over the last week or so, really over the last few days. Just respond, give my thoughts. This will give us an opportunity to touch on a bunch of different things, and maybe people will like it and encourage people to send in sort of thoughtful questions and anecdotes via email. So let's start. This was a message I received from John Brown. Brown wrote to me about ivermectin, saying, "Hi, David, my anti-vaccine uncle told me he has the phone number for a doctor in Florida who will prescribe ivermectin over the phone. I know, I try to avoid him, but if I get COVID, I'm supposed to call him and he'll call this quack for a prescription. Thanks, David. Best regards, John." Yeah, so there's like three different layers to this. First of all, even the company that makes ivermectin, Merck, is saying, do not take this for COVID. It doesn't work for COVID. It's not approved for COVID. Do not take this for COVID. That's number one. Number two, there are people who are getting this from veterinarians because typically in different solutions, ivermectin is for treating worms in various types of animals, elements of animals, including heifers and mares and stallions and this type of thing. And then three, there are some doctors who will prescribe it. And then over the phone, it's just sort of like, on another level, right? Just sure, take it. Here's a prescription for ivermectin. So I would be extremely careful with that. It seems John has a good head on his shoulders here and understands that this is not something you want to be doing. The vaccine is now fully FDA approved. If what was holding you back was there was not full FDA approval, now there is. Okay, so thanks, John, for letting me know about that. Tristan wrote to me on Sunday and said, "Dear David, I'm on a plane from Rome to New York, and multiple people, including two right next to my wife and two across the way, with masks under the mouth or just off completely. Just unbelievable. We have no hope, thinking it may be time to start staying home again." Yeah, I flew back last week, as many of you guys know. I flew Lufthansa, and there were people all over the place with no mask. Now, I will commend the Lufthansa flight attendants because like one very angry guy boarded with no mask and complained about where I had my luggage and was saying, "No, this is my seat. Your luggage should be there." And I said, "Dude, but we're at the front of the plane. It's all empty. There's room. There's so much room. Why does it matter where my luggage is?" Sat down, was wearing no mask. Within 30 seconds, a flight attendant came over and said, Sir, did you need me to give you a mask?" And the guy was annoyed and he said he had been walking quickly, whatever, but right away. So a lot of it's incumbent upon the flight attendants. If they allow people to not wear masks, people are going to not wear masks. And I totally understand just saying, "I'm not going to travel for the time being," but no surprise. And, my approach has been, it is really annoying to wear a mask on a plane the entire time. I get it. Lufthansa in particular, they didn't even let me wear my comfortable mask. They gave me like a surgical one, and the bands behind my ears, they're rubbing and they're pulling. I don't like it. But right now, if I'm choosing to fly, I'm going to play by the rules. And the rules are you keep your mask on. And so when they serve food, I take it off, I eat, and then I put it back on. I'm not playing any mask games. And that's the least we could expect from people. Okay, a viewer named Leo sent me a message regarding Jesse Peterson, saying, "David, I'm a 76-year-old Canadian living in Ontario. I happened to fall upon a YouTube clip of you on the Jesse Peterson show. How you remain so calm under his barrage of insane talking points — I think he only has 8 — puts you up there with saints. You are a brilliant journalist and communicator. Never lower yourself to his level again by being in the same room as him, please. Sincerely, Leo." Yeah, I appreciate that, but that's not my approach. I see those appearances basically as performance art, where I'm just not taking it seriously, but I'm pretending to. And there were a few people who saw my interview with Mike Lindell of My Pillow a couple weeks ago, and they wrote to me and they were sort of upset I wasn't yelling and screaming at everything that Mike was saying. And I explained on air that that's not really how those interviews work well. These are not people who are even connected remotely to the real world. They're not going to see reason. So if I just start arguing at every opportunity, the interview will go nowhere. And so my approach is to pretend as though I'm taking it seriously and just let them kind of meme themselves into oblivion, and that's been my approach. Not everybody likes it, but that was my approach with Jesse Lee. And I thought it was quite a good time, I have to say. I would actually appear in his studio again. One of the funniest things, and I've told this story before, was when I went. So first of all, I don't even know where to back up and start. But so Jesse Lee Peterson has a studio and counseling center in LA. Now, the term counselor is an unregulated term. You're not saying you're a therapist where do you have a PsyD or an LICSW or LMHC? Counselor is sort of like coach. And what he does is it's basically like a Christian ministry coaching type thing. And he, I guess, has clients that go to him for help. So it's this whole operation. But the funniest part was the staff on his show, at least not on the coaching ministry side, but on the show side, they all seem to be pretty big fans of the David Pakman show, and a bunch of them asked for pictures with me and whatnot. So it was actually kind of funny. I don't even know whether they take him seriously. I genuinely have no idea, but it was quite an experience, and I would certainly be willing to appear again. Okay, also from the email, a viewer named Aundy wrote to me and said, "Hi, David. Hope your vacation went well and you enjoyed your break. I was hoping you could update us on the Arizona audit. It seems to have fallen away since all the crazy stuff that happened in the last 10 days. Thanks for your help and always speaking the truth." Well, nothing is going on with the audit in the sense that it was never really an audit. It was effectively it was effectively just a PR thing. And, at one point they were looking for bamboo fibers on the ballots, which might be indicative of the ballots having come from China. They had very powerful lights and heat, which they were going to inject the ballots with, or whatever terminology they use. It's always been a joke. It was never going to do anything. So it's not a surprise that, like with many of these things, it just kind of fades away and then you don't hear about it again. Now, there may be some follow-up. We may hear some last gasp effort to say something like, oh, well, they interfered, or they only gave us copies of the ballots, not the originals, and so we weren't able to really do what we were supposed to do or whatever. So we may hear about it again, but we may not. And a real sign of cults and cult-like thinking that's very much like the kind of apocalypse rapture type Christianity is that the date at which something will happen keeps getting pushed and pushed and pushed. And that's what's happening with the Trump reinstatement. Because remember, go back to Election Day in November of 2020. It was, we won. 3 days later, media says Joe Biden won. Then it becomes by December, by Safe Harbor Day or whatever it was, December 14th or something, this will have become Trump's win. And then it was by January 6th. And then it was by January 20th. And then it was by March. Then it was April. Then it was August 13th. We heard that now it's by the end of the year. It's never. Eventually it'll just be maybe Trump runs again. And if you want him to be president, you vote for the guy. But it's very, very typical of cult behavior. We've interviewed, in fact, some of these apocalyptic people where they say the rapture is happening on May 5th. And then it doesn't. And they say, oh, yeah, our leader miscalculated. And also Mercury was in retrograde and Alpha Centauri was 5% less visible. Who the hell knows what? And now they have a new date. It's typical, not surprising whatsoever. Lastly, throwing in just a little bit of hate mail. This is a viewer who has been writing to me under two names, Susan and Chris. They've probably sent us, I don't know, maybe 150 emails over time. And they always use iPads. And Susan appeared in my email this week and said, hey, how's that Joe Biden of yours doing? I'm thinking you're an Argentinian millennial ass. So not very substantive. And that's basically the gist of this viewer who writes under two names, Susan as well as Chris. Always the exact same syntax, always sent from iPad. They share a last name. So that is that. I would be glad and really thrilled to include your emails in subsequent segments like this one. you can write in to info@davidpakman.com, and I hope to include one of your emails soon. Also, make sure you sign up at joinpakman.com because we do have the show, and then we have the bonus show. And I would love for you to watch or listen to the award-winning, world-famous bonus show, one of many member benefits when you sign up at joinpakman.com.